So in this example, the interviewer said to the young man, "We will let you know our decision by tomorrow." Here in this example, we, our, these pronouns change it to they, their. And here will, modal verb change it to would. Tomorrow has changed it to the next day. So all these changes, when we are converting a sentence from direct speech to indirect speech, we have to focus on the changes in tenses, we have to focus on the changes in pronouns, and also we have to focus on the tenses, changes in the other words related to time and distance. Next, Tom said, "I must visit the doctor today." Here, Tom said, "I must visit the doctor today." Here, I pronoun has changed because the subject of the sentence is Tom. So, accordingly, it has changed to he. Must change it to had to. And today change it to that day. So, here also must change it to had to. I change it to he. Today change it to that to. So, in a sentence, like all these things we have to focus, means like tenses we have to focus, pronouns we have to focus, and other words which are related to time we have to focus. So all these accordingly we have to one after the other we have to make change, so that we can convert the sentence from direct speech to indirect speech. Now see here, the second thing is report. See, whatever the changes that we have discussed so far, like they are all related to statements. Now we take question forms or imperative sentence. We have other kinds of sentences also: interrogative sentence, imperative sentence, and exclamatory sentences. When such sentences comes in direct speech, then how the conversion takes place? Here we'll just take first questions. That means, like, when a question comes in direct speech, then how to change that question into indirect speech. See here, first of all, the reporting verb, whatever that, when we change that direct speech into indirect speech, when that quoted part is a question, means the part which is in quotations is a question, then the reporting verb that we have to use when we change that into indirect speech is asked, inquired, wanted to know. So such reporting verbs we use when we change a question from indirect speech to direct speech. Like once we tell the question to someone else, it isn't a question anymore. That means when we change the question from direct speech to indirect speech, the question changes to statement. So it changes to statement. So how that change comes, we'll see. See here, in this example, "Are you ready?" asked her mother. Are you ready is the question, and it is a question, it is a yes or no question. That means we have used an auxiliary verb, that is helping verb, to frame a question. Here, when we change this question into indirect speech, that means direct speech into indirect speech, the changes that we should notice is the reporting verb first, like it is changed to wanted to know, and now the question becomes a statement. And are you ready asked her mother. When we change that into indirect speech, her mother wanted to know if she was ready. That question changed to statement. Here this is no more a question now, it is a statement. Now see here, the old man said to the boy, "Where do you live?" The old man said to the boy, "Where do you live?" As it is a question, so we are trying to make a change to the reporting verb also. The old man asked the boy where he lived. Here, do forms, when we get do forms in the question, when that question is changed to indirect speech, we have to drop those do forms. We should not use do forms in the indirect speech. Instead, we have made it like this: the old man asked the boy where he lived. Now, she said to me, "What are you doing?" She said to me, "What are you doing?" Here, this is one more question. She asked me what I was doing. This question started with a question word, and so as it is we are writing what, there is no change in this particular word. We have used the same word or changed to I was doing. And here, what are you doing is a question. What I was doing is a statement. Of course, we'll discuss it in deep in the next slide. These are some examples which we can notice regarding these interrogative sentences. Usually, we have two types of questions. One is yes or no questions. The other is information questions. That means the questions which we form with question words. So question words means like WH words, you know it: what, when, where, who, whom, why, and how. So such questions, such words, with such words also we frame questions, and those questions are called as informative questions. And we have one more type of questions, those are yes or no questions, which we frame by using helping verbs. So if you frame a question by using helping verb, what we have to do is we have to use if or whether in indirect speech. For example, say this: Priya said, will you attend the party? Priya said, will you attend the party? This is a question which is framed by using a modal verb or auxiliary verb. See, this question, when it is changed to indirect speech, we are making use of if or whether. Priya, as it is a question, we have used a reporting verb asked. Priya asked if, because this is a question which is started with a helping verb. If I will has become would, sorry, will have has become would. If I would attend the party, if I would attend the party. Here we have removed this question mark, and this is no more a question, it is a statement. Now we can see the other way of changing it. Priya asked, instead of if we have kept whether. Priya asked whether I would attend the party. So when you are framing a question with a helping verb, when you change that direct speech into indirect speech, what we have to use is we have to make use of if or whether to convert that question to a statement. If I would attend the party, or whether I would attend the party. See this question, like the stranger asked, what time is it? See here, in this question, we have used a question word, what. By using a question word, we have framed this question. So if such type of questions comes, like how we have to change it. The stranger inquired what time it was. What time it was. So here what, there is no change in what, as it is we have brought it down. He asked his father, who was that man? He asked his father, who was that man? He asked his father who that man had been. Or else you can use was also. He asked his father who that man was. See here, when framing questions, this is the word order. Like we use auxiliary verb first, and then we use the subject, and then the main verb. But when you just try to convert this into indirect speech, the word order is like this. That means subject comes first and verb comes next. So this word order also you have to focus. Now, see this. When we take imperative sentences in the sense like, here the subject is implied, and requests, orders, commands, directions, all these comes under imperative sentences. That means this sentence starts with the verb itself. Like, see the examples: open the door, don't forget your bag, be nice to your brother and sister, please clean my room, let's play football. All these are examples of imperative sentences. Here subject is implied. We are not using any person here, like you open the door or you don't forget your bag. So that subject you is implied actually. We write these sentences like this only. So imperative sentences means all request comes under imperative sentences, advices or orders or directions or suggestions or commands, all these comes under imperative sentences. When imperative sentence comes in a direct speech, then how to convert this imperative sentence into indirect speech? See here, for example, please help me, cried the man. Please help me, cried the man. Here, please help me is an imperative sentence. When you convert this into indirect speech, please is an indication that it is a request. So we are using a helping verb, requested. The man requested them to help him. The man requested them to help him. So see here, do not cheat in the exam, said the instructor. Do not cheat in the exam, said the instructor. Means it's just an instruction or a warning. The instructor warned the students not to cheat in the exam. Here one thing we have to remember, when we are trying to convert these commands or requests or permissions or like such imperative sentences to the indirect speech, what we use is infinitive form of the verb. This one thing you have to focus on. The man requested to help him. To help is the infinitive form. Here, the instructor warned the students not to cheat. To cheat. So, this is the infinitive form which we are using when we convert imperative sentences to the indirect speech. Now, see few more examples on these imperative sentences. Can I have the newspaper, please? Said he. Can I have the newspaper, please? Said he. So here this is a question, and he asked for the newspaper. When you just convert this into indirect speech, it can be simply written as he asked for the newspaper. Will you carry the box for me? She asked. Will you carry the box for me? She asked. Here, will. So the question starts with a helping verb. And so we are making use of if or whether. She asked me if I, you became I, will became would. She asked me if I would carry the box for her. She as the pronoun here, and so accordingly we have changed me into her. She asked me to carry the box for her. See, Jim said, can I make an appointment? Jim said, can I make an appointment? Jim asked if he could make an appointment. This is one way of framing the question, or one way of changing the direct question into indirect statement. Like Jim asked to make an appointment. This is how we can make it more simple. Jim asked to make an appointment. Please do not be late, said she. Please do not be late, said she. She requested us not to be late. She requested us not to be late. Plan ahead, said my father. Plan ahead, said my father. My father told me that I should plan ahead. That I should plan ahead. So here, mom said, call me when you get home. Call me when you get home. Mom said to call her when we get home. Mom said to call her when we get home. These are how we can make conversions from direct speech to indirect speech. And exclamatory sentences. When we try to make changes to these exclamatory sentences, that means when we try to convert an exclamatory sentence from direct speech to indirect speech, then what are the changes that we have to notice? Here, see, exclamatory sentences means they express a sudden outburst of some emotions like joy, sorrow, contempt, regret, surprise, etc. When we try to express such emotions, we use some sort of words like, exclamatory words like hurrah, alas, oh, how, bravo. So such words, like each and every word indicates some expression, that is joy. Hurrah express joy, loss, sorrow, regret, and what? It's a surprise. Oh, surprise. And bravo, it refers to appreciation. Oh, it refers to contempt. So such expressions we use in exclamatory sentences. When such exclamatory sentences, or if we want to convert such exclamatory sentences into indirect speech, what we do is we simply skip these exclamatory words which are used in direct speech. Instead of this, we add other words like he exclaimed with joy, he exclaimed with sorrow, he exclaimed with surprise, he applauded, he exclaimed with contempt. So when we just try to convert that direct speech into indirect speech, we skip such exclamatory words and instead we use such expressions to make it an indirect speech. For example, see here, the boy said, hurrah, we have won the match. Hurrah is an expression which is used to express joy. And here, the same thing, when you convert this sentence into indirect, we have used a reporting verb instead of said, we have used exclaimed. Hurrah is an indication for joy, and so we have used joy word here. The boy exclaimed with joy that they had won the match. See here, wow, what a handsome man he is, said the girls. Wow is something like, it is a kind of surprise. Like the girls exclaimed that he was a handsome man. The old man said, loss, I have lost my purse. A loss is an exclamatory word which is used to express sorrow. The old man exclaimed with sorrow that he had lost his purse. Here, we are skipping these exclamatory words and also we are skipping this exclamatory mark and we are just making it a statement. Exclamatory sentence has been changed to a statement here. See the last example. The child said, what a beautiful sight. What a beautiful sight. So the child exclaimed with delight that it was a very beautiful sight. So such exclamatory sentences, when we are converting them into indirect speech, we have to skip that exclamatory word. Instead of, we have to use the other expression like exclaimed with joy, exclaimed with sorrow, exclaimed with delight. So in such a way, like we have to make changes to the expressions that are used in the sentences. Now, to recap the whole thing, whatever that we have learned, when we are trying to convert a sentence from direct speech to indirect speech, we have to concentrate on the changes that we bring in tenses, pronouns, or other words. And if it is a statement, then we have to concentrate on the changes that we bring in tenses, pronouns, and other words. And of course, questions also. When it is an interrogative sentence, we should be very particular whether the question is a yes or no question or an information question. And accordingly, we have to make the changes. And also, we have to see whether the choice of the reporting verb. That means if it is a question, what sort of reporting verb we have to use. If it is a statement, what sort of reporting verb we have to use. If it is an imperative sentence or an exclamatory sentence, what sort of reporting verb we have to use. Particularly when we come to exclamatory sentences, we have to skip off the exclamatory words that are used in a sentence in the direct speech, and then we have to use the appropriate expressions when we change that into indirect speech. And also when it comes to imperative sentences, requests, orders, advice, so the particular, when we see that the statement is a request, then we have to use the reporting verb accordingly. If it is an order, we use ordered. If it is a request, requested. If it is an advice, advised. In such way, we have to bring changes to the tenses, we have to bring changes to the pronouns, and we have to bring changes to the other words. And based on the sentence, the kind of the sentence, we have to bring changes to the reporting verbs also. So I think you understood. Thank you.